Well, hey, friends, it is Rhonda. I'm back with another episode for you. This time I have a special guest who is one of you. His name is Dr. Jarod Ward. He practices outside of Fort Myers in Florida in the southern side, and he has gone through quite a little journey to get to where he is. And he's fairly new in his wellness practice. He's an AK doc, and I think you're going to find this conversation that I had with him very insightful. He's been knocked around a little bit, and he's picked himself back up and is doing pretty amazing things, growing a very successful practice on his own. And he kind of tells all. So listen into my conversation with Dr. Jarod Ward. He's going to tell you how he is building a wildly successful practice. He's going to give you all the steps. So here's my conversation with Jarod. Oh my gosh, Jarod, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Well, I know that you were a bit surprised when my team reached out and said, "Hey, would you jump on the podcast with me?" And I want to first tell you, and for everyone who's listening, why you especially caught my eye. Like, of the thousands of doctors I have in my community, I like to kind of spot people that are doing something unique and different. And you just kind of had this vibe that I was just very naturally attracted to. And so I wanted to talk to you about your journey and
Mhm.
your practice, what was before and what you have now. But I first just want to say I see you and I really love what you have done. I
Well,
just want
thank
to
you so
acknowledge
much.
that because it's hard work. I mean, this is not all, owning a
Yeah,
practice, running a practice, building a practice is not all, fairy tales and roses. So there's a lot of
yeah,
dragons hiding in the bushes. So,
yeah, yeah. Well,
tell-
awesome. Well, thank you.
of course. So tell us a little bit, give me kind of your story.
Okay, yeah. So I guess in the beginning, my dad is a foot and ankle surgeon, director of residency program, very successful. So I grew up seeing like the allopathic model. I personally had some health crises early on in high school, college that weren't solved by that model. Saw a chiropractor who did a lot of, standard process, functional medicine, got
Right.
better. I was sick for 4 years. She got me better in 3 months, right? So I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. So long story short, went out to California, went to Life West Chiropractic College, amazing school, had an awesome experience. And then I worked for Dr. Mindy Pels as my first job. So I learned a lot on how to run a clinic. It was pretty awesome, how to be fast, efficient, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I ended up moving to Florida. I took another promising job opportunity as an associate. And in this opportunity, I was promised to eventually become full partner in a practice we were going to build from scratch, right? So I moved to Florida from out of state, and the other, or my boss, also moved to Florida from out of state. It went really well. I would say we were tracking metrics, but we knew nobody, right? We were growing at least 20% every month, which was awesome. We were really hitting the pavement. The last full month I was there, we collected, I mean, I hope it's okay to say, I'm not sure. We collected 80,000, and that was under 2 years. So it was about a year and a half mark.
Wow.
So that was really awesome. Of course, I have things to learn and areas to grow and refine my business skill. I had never built a practice before from scratch, but it was a really, really cool opportunity. However, about 3 months before that 2 year mark, I really got the rug pulled out from under me. I was kind of, my patients loved me. I never had any complaints. I was busy, probably not as busy as my boss would have liked in terms of, business generation and everything. But I was pulled into, after work and was told that, hey, great job, nothing against you as a person or a doctor, but I'm not renewing your contract and I'm holding you to the non-compete. So you have to get out of town. So my whole like hopes and dreams of becoming a partner in the
Oh,
clinic, yeah,
soul crushing.
it was a bummer.
Oh, that sucks. I've been through that pain and it is no fun. It's like a gut punch that you think I'm never going to recover from. It's a
Yeah.
betrayal, such a deep
Oh,
betrayal.
yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
was. And I mean, I had moved here for this.
Yeah.
So, anyways, went home for Christmas and kind of was processing with my family, whatever. But, it's okay, whatever. I respected my contract. I left town, did not solicit a single patient, and it kind of got nasty. He got attorneys involved for whatever reason because
Oh,
he thought I was stealing patients, and it was just really stressful. So, anyways, I come back to Florida after, seeing my family in Ohio. And luckily, there was a doctor I knew in the neighboring town who welcomed me with open arms, like rent a room. So that's been great. So I started my own baby practice, and
Mhm.
it has exploded, and I haven't it's awesome. So,
Woo! That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so thankful. The environment is awesome, where I'm working. I love everybody who works here. I'm the only chiropractor in the clinic, so there's no like stepping on each other's toes or anything. So that's really great. And yeah, it's been awesome. The Lord's taking care of me. It's been good. And
Oh,
so yeah, so I'm building this practice while I'm also like getting texts from my old boss saying, "Hey, this could be really, financially troublesome for you. You can't do this, blah, blah. I'm gonna send my lawyers after you, all this stuff in the background while I'm like trying to focus on like
I
building
know.
something new, move on, right?
Yep.
But so it was pretty stressful for a while. I had to hire an attorney and everything, but I think it's all good in the clear. I hope. I just want to move on and help people. And,
Yeah.
if you do it here, that's okay. So it's been really awesome. Great experience. I love my patients and we're getting good results. So that's what's even better.
Wow. I love that. I didn't know that about your, big sucker punch. And when that happens, man, it's bad. It's just painful. You just want to go like lay in a corner and lick your wounds for a while. But then you know that there's people out there that need what you do. And
Right.
I think, I don't know, for me anyway, I just realized that I had to just get back up there and keep serving. You just
Mhm.
have to go
Yep.
keep doing the thing that you love. Because if you let other people determine your success, and get in your head and make you
Right.
feel less than or not
Right.
enough or stupid or whatever, then they are living rent free in your back pocket.
Yeah. Yep, no, it's true, and that was a really good exercise for me, and, I mean, there were a couple of times where my last boss, he told me that I had the worst business statistics he had ever seen in the field of chiropractic.
Oh,
He told me that a couple of times, and I was like, "Okay." I'm a very teachable, humble person in general, so I was like, "Okay, alright, if that's true, then how can I get
yeah.
better?"
Yeah.
So, I no longer think that is true.
Good. I think you've
Um,
proven yourself. You've
yeah.
proven the opposite to be true.
So yeah, so just, God bless him is all good, but just yeah, realizing that it was necessary. It was necessary to see that I can do it, that I have what it takes, and that, patients really love what I provide. So
Yeah. And
mm,
the other thing I want to throw in there, and that is that sometimes, as painful as these kinds of things are, sometimes I think that whether God allows it or it's just the way that our life path goes, depends on your belief system. But I think sometimes it's necessary for us to go down a path that seems to be good and
mm,
it's good, but there's a crisis. But the reason that the crisis has to occur is so that you, Jarod, in this case, you are forced to go out and do it on your own. But
yeah,
you may not have ever done that
right,
otherwise. You
right,
would have been like, oh, I need somebody else, or I need a partner. We sometimes get into this wrong or altered belief system about ourselves, which is our own limiting beliefs
right.
about ourselves. And then we're too scared to go out and do it, or we're too scared to get out on social media. And I do want to talk to you about your social media, but we're too scared to do something. And so
Mhm.
sometimes we get in the safe place, but God's like, I think that's going to work out so well for you. So bye. And there's a crisis that happens, but the crisis is for our good.
Right,
And I
right.
think that's what
Yep,
happened here, right?
it's biblical.
Yeah. Turned out
Pretty
there
much.
exactly. Turned out very good for you. So
Yes, it did.
talk to me about now, what exactly do you do in your practice? Like now that you have your own jig, your own
Mhm.
gig, your own jam, what are you doing? How's it set up for you?
But yeah, so in terms of like, I guess the clinical side, I do applied kinesiology. I
Mhm.
do a lot of blood work from functional ranges, and then that's pretty much it. That's what I do. And I love it. It's awesome. It's like I help people lose weight. I help people reverse their diabetes. I help with a lot of GI, a lot of kids, a lot of parasites, a lot of detox.
Nice.
And it's so much fun. And then of
You
course the
love it.
structural, yeah, I love it. The structural stuff is really fun too. I mean, I had one lady, she came to me, she's 85, right? And she's like, I've had hip pain since a horse accident and it's been hurting me for 70 years. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's see, right?
I
And
don't know.
I don't know, it's a long time, but we cleared it out. I love what I do. The techniques I use are so much fun. So
I
I'm
love
in an
that.
I'm in an office that also has hyperbaric oxygen chambers and
Oh,
pulse EMS mats as well. So those are great therapies
oh,
that I refer to a lot for different
P
cases.
the PMF mats, I think clinically, this is a side note, but
Mm,
I think since we're talking clinical here, I think that the PMF mats, I think every practice should have one
100%.
because they are so transformational, because we're living in these big cities. People are not out like they need to. We've got all this electromagnetic pollution that's happening, clothing pollution. Like that's a rabbit hole that I'm now headed down, is
I
the
know, right? The
clothing
interesting the
thing.
fibers and the
Yes,
frequency.
I
Yeah.
just saw an interview with someone who was a clothing manufacturer, and he said all of these like leggings and stretch pants and like the Lululemon stuff and all that stuff,
Forever
he said they're
chemicals.
basically made of plastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
They take plastic, leftover plastic, and they just chemically process until they get to a fiber stage. And then they just reweave the plastic, put a little stretch in it, and put it back in clothing. And I'm thinking, no wonder our bodies are sick. No
Right.
wonder our bodies are sick, because we're surrounding them with this negative electromagnetic, we'll call it, field or energy. So the PEMF mats are great. Do you have a brand that you recommend that I could put in the show notes? Would you send that?
It's Pulse. Yeah, I'll send it to you. They're like the Mac Daddy of PEMF. They're amazing. So I started using them when I was in California still, because we had one at that office. And yeah, it's my favorite like guest.
It's the best. I think every practice should have one. So yeah, send me the link and I'll put it in the show notes. Okay, now let's talk about how you are. So here you are, you're in a brand new city and you are like, oh crap, I got to start over. I want you to walk me through your formula. What did you do? What have you done? And because this is the second time you've done it now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So now you're on your own inside a busier clinic, but you're really building your own practice. So what's your step one? What's your formula? How do you do this?
Well, so the city where I'm at is about 30 miles away from the other city where I was at. My non-compete was 10 miles, so I went way out of it. And basically, so I kind of had a bit of a reputation already in the other city where I was at. So that did help me, you know, and that was, so I leveraged that, right? And then also my Instagram. So I don't have tens of thousands of followers. I have about 5,500, but they're very local and my engagement is high. So basically, it's a very interactive page. And so I get probably anywhere from 5 to 10 new patients a month from my Instagram alone. And that's completely free, right? So I just
ROI on that is huge.
Yeah. And it's not, I wouldn't say mine's very professional or all that neat looking. You know, a lot of times I'm just taking a selfie or with my family or, you know, just showing that personal side as well.
Yeah.
Because also I don't want to be, you know, work all the time. So yeah, so that's been part of it. And honestly, so the practice where I'm at, there was an AK chiropractor who retired about 3-4 years ago. And I'm only one of about 2 or 3 AK docs in all of Southwest Florida. So people find me on the website, the AK website. And then when people have an AK doc, they usually tend to stick with a muscle testing chiropractor, right? So when people find out I do that, and muscle testing and parasites are all kind of trending right now on social media. So it's been amazing because, well, first of all, there's this whole patient base that was like waiting for someone
to show
doctor
up
to step in.
And
that's where it just like, I couldn't have planned it better myself. It just happened. And, you know, my first goal was like, I just need 40 patients a week and my bills are covered. And I'm like, okay, I have to hit that in 3 months. I hit it in 5 weeks. And it was no marketing, not paying anybody. Yeah, I hit it in 5 weeks and then just asking for referrals like all the time. And, you know, leveraging what happened, you know, to help to encourage and inspire people to help me, you know, it's just the truth. Here's the truth of what happened. I need your help and they want to help, right? So it's just like choosing that people will help you. They just don't know maybe that you need it, right? So
okay, if you're listening, you can't see me, but like I'm sitting in a chair in my office and I literally want to throw myself back in the chair and throw my head back after what you just said. We have to go down this rabbit hole.
Okay.
So many practitioners are too afraid to ask for a referral because I don't want to feel like I'm begging, or what if I make them feel awkward? But yet people that love you and you're serving them, you're helping them. It's called the law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
And people are compelled to want to return the favor. It doesn't feel good for us emotionally or energetically to always be taking. In other words, I go see you, Jarod, you fix me. You fix me. I feel better. I feel better. You've helped me with my diet. You've helped me lose weight. You've helped me with my chronic back pain. You helped me sleep better. You helped me all the things. That's an imbalance of energy exchange.
Right.
You're giving a lot to me, but I don't know how to give back to you. I'm like, I am so grateful. I'm so thankful. You've really helped me, help me. And then one day you say to me, how do you language this?
I'll be like, hey, so I usually wait for that moment when they're
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
much better, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever. They're like, you did this in 4 visits, what? Right? So, you know, when that moment happens, I'm just like, that's when I'm just like, yeah, and you know what? There's so many more people who need what I just did for you. I'll literally say, okay, who in your family or friends needs me? And I'll be like, did you tell them about me? Like, I'll just ask them, right? And then I'll
Yeah.
tell them I'm building a business and I want to help more people. And I literally tell my patients, my goal is 100 patients a week. I'm not there yet. How can you help me get there? You know, so I'm just very
I
frank and
love that.
honest. And, you know, part of it, I realized this, it's like we believe that people are much more stingy and like, I guess, selfish than they are. And
Yeah.
granted,
Yeah.
sometimes they are, right? But most of the time they want to help, you know, and if they say no, I always say no pressure, but, you know, I would really love the referral. I mean, even right now, so I started in January. I have 34 5-star Google reviews because I just keep asking for Google reviews,
Same
right?
thing. Same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My goal is just like 1 or 2 a week. And
Exactly.
then also I started asking for, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be doing some recording. We're going to do some video testimonials. I know I've helped you a lot. Would you be willing to do that? And so I have like 14 people signed up that I'm going to film like half of them today. So yeah, just really leveraging.
The things that work. That's
Yeah.
what I love about how you, and that's why you and I are having this conversation, because I've kind of watched this happen. And I'm like, you got this figured out. And nobody taught you, or maybe they
Mhm.
did teach you, but you figured it out. You figured out the secret sauce. The secret sauce is be good at what you do. Number
Yeah.
one, you can't
Yep.
be a crappy chiropractor or a
Mhm.
crappy acupuncturist and think you're going to grow. Like you
Mhm.
have to be good at what you do. But assuming that's in place, then you got to be in front of people. You
Right.
can't hide inside an office and say, well, no one's coming. When you
Yeah.
haven't posted anything on social media, you haven't gone out and shake the hand of somebody in your community that's an influencer. You know, it's gotta go both ways. But you get on social media and just be real with people. And then you ask them for help
Yeah.
for your goal. And you get those Google reviews. Like referrals, best patients ever.
Hmm.
And personal referral makes the best patients. And then the Google reviews brings in those people that identify with what it is that you do. So,
Exactly.
oh my
Well,
gosh.
and another commitment I made to myself at the last practice, it did help. We ran a lot of social media ads with like
Mm,
first visit and adjustment, only $45, blah, 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 right? I had mixed feelings about it, but you know, I wasn't calling the shots and I was like, okay, let's do it. I felt like we were just attracting a lot of people who wanted a quick
they're tire
deal, right?
kickers.
Yeah.
They're
And
Grouponers.
so, yeah,
Mhm.
so I made the decision I'm never doing that. And
Yeah,
actually, my initial fee at first was fairly low, but I've raised it twice since I,
good for
you know,
you.
got here. It's still probably very reasonable, I think, compared to some, but I'm just like, I'd rather just keep it simple and not run any ads like that. And I think that's really helped attract the right type of person who values what
Exactly.
I do.
Yep.
And the other thing too is like everything's relational, right? Everything is relational. Business is relational. And so
Yeah.
every time I'm working with somebody, like I don't want to just work on them. I want to know what's their goal. Like what do they like to do for fun, right? And then they're with me, right? Because we have that relational
Yeah,
connection. And
exactly.
and honestly, like this might sound arrogant, but like who better to have on their healthcare team than someone like me, you know? And it's just true because what are they going to get in the other system? You know, I know
Yeah.
the other system.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, anyways, I'm kind of rambling, but
No, it's so good. You're just like dropping all these little nuggets. Like it's about building the relationship. You know, we often think that a business or a practice in our case is transactional.
mhm,
We think of it sometimes incorrectly, I believe, as being a transactional service where they come in, they pay the fee, you do the adjustment, they go home.
mhm,
And I think that's the wrong way to set up a business. And I've
yep,
always said that, like, it's about the relationship. And
mhm,
when you build a relationship with someone and you know that they're going to go to, like, I just had this with a patient. They were going to Costa Rica, taking their whole family for 2 weeks
mhm,
to Costa Rica. And I have it written down. I made myself a note,
mhm,
a reminder to follow up a week after they got back from their vacation with nothing more than a simple text that just said, hey, so and so, how was your trip? I was thinking about you while you were gone, which
yeah,
is not a lie. It's true. I was
and
thinking about them.
right,
That patient will be loyal to me forever because
mhm,
you're doing the same thing. You go beyond what they would get anywhere else and
right.
you take it from being transactional and making it relational. And
Yeah.
when that relationship goes outside of what they're familiar with, it builds that loyalty, the bond, the
Yeah.
trust. And then they're going to want to send people because they want to be the hero. The other thing is that people are looking for how to, I mean, it's terrible, it's selfish, but we're all looking for a way to make us look better.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
like it or not, it's the truth, right?
Mhm.
Subconsciously, I'm like, oh, how can I be a hero for someone else? Well, one of the ways I be a hero is like, oh my gosh, I'm the one that's going to tell you about Jarod.
Mhm.
Like, he's going to change your life. And don't forget, I'm the one that told you about it.
Right, right.
People want to refer, especially
Yeah.
when it's good like that. So, oh, this is so good. What other secrets?
Oh, man, what are the secrets? So I do care plans and packages most of the time.
How do you structure
Um,
those?
so very simple. Basically, I do 3 months
3 months.
and very in frequency. That's for like a pure structural case. I'm honestly still figuring out how to do memberships when it's just more nutritional blood work. I have one way to do it that I did at the last office, and it was like my metabolic reset. Like we were reversing diabetes, weight loss, all that kind of stuff. Very functional medicine. There wasn't like muscle testing. They were only required to meet with me once a month, right? So I have that in my brain. But anyway, so packages for chiropractic, and it's 3 months. If people want to quit, they can. Like, if you don't want to be here, great. I don't want you here. Right. So, of
Right.
course, there's education. I'm not that passive. Right. But yeah, so that's what I structured. At first, I had a really bad taste in my mouth regarding packages because
Yeah.
sometimes it can be really motivated by greed. Right.
Money. 100%. I'm with you. I knew where you're going. I
Yeah.
agreed.
I hate that.
Me too. Hate it.
So I was really resistant at first because I was like, I'm not going to twist someone's arm for me to take care of them,
Yeah.
And so I just want to work with people ideally. But then I started realizing the value of giving the patient a clear expectation
Correct.
and giving the patient an endpoint, right?
Mhm.
Because I had a couple people leave after like visit 5, and I did not feel that their complaint was completely resolved. And they felt good because we took the edge off, right? But
Correct.
I'm like,
Right.
where could you be, right? So I did that a couple of times, and I was like, oh wait, okay, there is value in this. I'm very reasonably priced, and I should, we'll figure that out as time goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
You
how I
got
structured,
time.
and people can either pay up front or monthly. I don't care. And then after that, it's pretty much pay per visit. So again, I'm only month 6 into practice, so I'm still figuring things out as I go, but that's kind of how it's structured right now.
I love that. And I agree with you about the packages and programs. Every single one of my businesses in the healthcare wellness space always
Mhm.
have been fee for service. And I've always said I like fee for service works when the economy's good,
Mhm.
when people have extra disposable income, fee for service is great. But when things get tight,
Mhm.
I think that the convenience, and to your point about setting the expectation, it's very nice for them to know I'm going to pay one fee. Here's my amount. Now I can plan for it. I know
Mhm.
it's going to be this much money, and I can either pay it monthly or I can pay it all at once. And this is my end point.
Mhm.
And then they don't have to think about it. They don't have to say, oh, I got to go back to the chiropractor this week. They think, oh, I already paid for it and I'm going every week. Now they're like, I'm
Right.
supposed to see you this week. How come you're not?
Mhm.
Can't get in? What? No, I already paid. The psychology of the exchange
Mhm.
completely changes in a care plan or a package. So I agree with you. You have to be able to make money.
Yeah,
So it's not about giving it away. But at
of
the same
course.
time, I think it's way more fair for the patient if it's
Mhm.
structured well. And it sounds
Right.
like you've done that. So yeah, you've got time to raise your price, but fuss around with it. You're still growing. And the
Right.
point is here, you want to build loyalty, build relationships, get the
Right.
people in the door that you can then nurture for a longer
Yeah.
period of time.
Yeah. And and like when there's a mistake or whatever, it's like people are more important than money every time. So
Every
it's fine. People are more important than money, and I would rather foster a relationship than have an extra $100, So yeah, and that's
Yep.
just what's important. So
I love that. My dad used to say to me, if you put the people first, the money will follow.
mhm.
And
Mhm.
he said, you always have the people in front of you and the dollar sign behind you.
Yeah.
And when you're always looking at the people, the money will just flow right through them to you, but you can't
Mhm.
put the money out in front. And I think so often we get it backwards because we quote need the money, right? We're trying
Right.
to earn a living, but you have to make the people the first most important part.
Yeah.
So, okay, wrapping up,
Mhm.
looking back at the last experience that ended painfully,
Mhm.
looking back over that, what would you have done differently?
Honestly, I think it was perfect. It sounded like a little bit of a cop-out answer. If anything, probably leave earlier, just because there were moments where it just wasn't like a healthy work environment, I guess, is maybe a good way to say it.
What were the
And just,
warning signs that told you that? Like if you
um,
could look back, so this is a good observational exercise, like looking back, what was something that just didn't feel right to you? And it isn't,
um,
I'm not accusing the other person of doing anything
right,
illegal or ethical, but you have to stay true to what's right for you, right?
right.
For me, I need, for my integrity, my honesty, my position, I need to have it this way.
Mhm.
So for you in that environment, where did it feel like you were a fish in the wrong body of water?
Well, so I remember one time I came to work, and so I was the only one seeing patients for most of the 2 years. So my appointments were, at first they were longer because I'm establishing a relationship. Everyone has a new complaint. It's all fresh. You need more time, right? And then I remember I came to work one time, and without consulting me, all my appointment times had been changed to 10 minutes. And I was like, huh, okay, I can do it. I've worked jobs where I saw 4 people in 10 minutes, right? But I was like, this isn't what I want, right? I'm the
Mm,
AK doc, I'm the nutrition doc, right? I'm not
mhm.
the see a new person every three to
Whack
five
them and
weeks
crack
doc.
them. Yeah.
And from my understanding, we both had different skill sets, so we could both serve a greater population of people. But instead of, I guess, being encouraged or empowered in my skill set, I was being desired to become a copycat of the other skill set, right? So that was kind of the dynamic. There were a few times too where I don't know how to say this nicely, but I caught him lying to patients about me or telling me patients complained and then they actually didn't. So there were just different things like that where I was like, okay, this isn't going well. I'm gonna start looking around, you know. And so, I had plenty of warning. So I guess just like realizing, okay, I really wanted to make it work, right? Because I'm one of those people, if I say I keep
Yeah,
my
exactly.
word, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
even if
Yep.
it hurts, I will fulfill my contract if it's
No
like in my
matter
dying
what.
breath,
Yeah.
right? And so that was my mentality. I was like, no, I committed to this project. I will do it, right? Even though I literally got headhunted by other offices, they were offering me 3 to 5 times what I was making, but I was like, no, I'm committed to this. We're going to see it through.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's admirable, but maybe it's a little silly sometimes. So, but it worked out the way it did. And so I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
even very directly answering your questions, but those were some of the warning signs where I was like, okay, this isn't going well. So,
So if you were to look back and you were to say, okay, there's something here that's out of integrity for me, right? Like lying to a patient or telling something else true or, just disrespectful, really the changing of the schedule. It's just dishonoring and disrespectful. So
mhm,
if you're in an environment now looking back and you could go back and tell that Jared,
mhm.
what would you tell him to do differently?
I would tell him to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why?
So part of the reason I didn't leave was because I really didn't want to have to honor the non-compete.
Yeah.
And I thought if I was let go or terminated, that the non-compete would no longer apply. But unfortunately, that's not true in the state of Florida. So, because I consulted with an attorney about it. So that was one of my main motivations. But besides that fact, I would have told myself, yeah, you're going to thrive somewhere else
Yeah.
much better, where
Yeah.
people believe in you, honor you, right? So,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
in a place like that now. It's amazing. So,
So to finish up, I really have something I want to kind of add to that
yeah,
might help you or it might help the people that are listening.
please.
But I think one of the things I love that you said that you are, you're the commitment. You made the commitment and you're going to see the commitment through.
Mhm.
I also know that sometimes you make a commitment to someone, and let's just say that the person that you made a commitment to is doing things that are like literally illegal and could put your license in jeopardy.
Right.
Okay, let's just say that's the scenario, like Medicare fraud. Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. Whatever it is, billing fraud, using your name, your license on a bill that wasn't even, it was fraudulent. How would that change the decision? You would have said, I'm so sorry. Here's my notice. I cannot
Right.
be a part of this. I've got to go because it was illegal. But
Right.
sometimes we quote justify or we make excuses for something because we're afraid we don't want to go out, we don't want to start over again. But I think whether it's illegal or it's outside of your or who you are, right?
Mhm.
Being true to yourself, I think that is the most important thing that each one of us has to be is true to who we are. And when we're in an environment even though we've made a commitment there, if that environment goes against our core values, our core principles, and who we are, then there's just going to be friction and strife. So the sooner we can renegotiate that commitment, everything's possible in a conversation. All you got to do is have a conversation and say,
Right.
this is not working for me, and I'd like to talk about how I might be able to exit out. And you just start the conversation. You could have been miles ahead, but at the same time, the gift, as you mentioned earlier, was really being forced out or kicked out.
Right.
It really was a gift.
It
It could
was. Yeah.
probably happen sooner, but look at all the things you learned in the
Yeah.
process.
Yep.
You know,
And that's why I said I don't regret a lot of it.
Yeah.
because I learned so much, and I'm thankful for that. So
I love this conversation. I'm so thankful that you agreed to come on the podcast and chat with me. This has just been like amazing. You've inspired me. You've encouraged me. You know, I feel like I know you a little bit better. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, not seeing patients, to spend this half an hour or so with me. So Jarod, thank you so much. Where can other practitioners find you online?
well, thank you. First of all, I'm honored. It was awesome when I got the email. I was excited. But they can find me. So my website is drjarodward.com, DRJARODWARD.com. And then my Instagram is the same thing, at Dr. Jarod Ward. And then my office is in South Fort Myers, Florida. You can find the address and everything on the website too. So
All right. Well, thank you again. I wish the best, most abundant prosperity and blessing on you and your practice. And I'm
thank
just
you.
so excited to see what's going to happen as you keep asking for those referrals, doing all the things. I'm really so excited to see your practice grow to 1 million and beyond.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
All
much.
right, my friend. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right. Yep. Bye.
Well, I hope that you were able to take away some nuggets from this great conversation with Jarod. I know I did. I'm very appreciative of his vulnerability and his openness to share not only what he's doing, but also just reflecting back on what happened and how it's made him a better person. And we've all been that, right? We've all had that happen where you get kicked around, right? You get the sucker punch that you didn't see coming and you think, oh my gosh, my life is over. But never life is over. Life always goes on, and we learn and we grow and we do it a little bit differently. And Jarod's such a great example of that. So for those of you that are stuck in your practice, you're struggling, you're not sure what to do, I really want to grow and I just don't know how, you can definitely follow Jarod's advice and do those things. Ask for referrals and ask for reviews and build those relationships with people. It's so important. But if you need a little bit more handholding, or you're just looking for more very internal systems and management and some accountability, I think that's always important. You are always welcome to join a call with me to talk about Clinical Business Academy. These curiosity calls are just for you to be curious about what it is and for me to be a little bit curious about what's going on in your business so that I can see if this is something that I can help you with and help you really grow and scale the way that Jarod has done as well. So all you have to do to learn more and to schedule a call with me is go to rondanelson.com/CBA, stands for Clinical Business Academy. Pick a time, let's connect and chat, and I will tell you if I think I can help you. I'm pretty sure I can, but I'd love to chat with you. So again, rondanelson.com/CBA. And thanks for listening. And be sure that you go to the show notes and grab the link for Jarod's website is there, and also the link to that PEMF mat. So I'll make sure that all of that gets put in the show notes. So go find them, and I'll see you next week on the podcast.